And then if you really look at it, he's been in other trouble before. And he seems to have gotten off. Not to say that he was guilty.
Right.
He had the whole incident with the off-duty police officers,
Right.
which they ended up suing him later, but that was a big ordeal. And then he had the situation with the girl that was on his party bus.
I remember that.
That she didn't want water thrown on her or champagne, so they ended up just dropping her off at the next service station.
Yeah. I mean, that I'm not getting involved. That I mean, at least he didn't. There wasn't no signs of like physical sort of abuse. It was like, look, you're not doing what we asked. You're gonna have to get dropped off at this next stop. So,
okay, so let me ask you this. All right, just in all honesty, where do you put Shady McCoy as far as running backs in the league? Like, where would you rank him?
I mean, he's definitely top 10. He's definitely top 10. I mean, at this point, forget him playing because he probably won't play for a while.
But if he was playing, because I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay,
so you say he's
10?
top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
It's possible. I wouldn't say first ballot, but he still has a lot left in his tank. I think he still has at least 4 years.
Well, he's 30.
Yeah, I think he still has at least 4 good years.
Okay.
Not elite years, but
I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but somebody was bringing up his stats, and like when you look at his stats, he's definitely in the conversation. I didn't realize that in this last 8-year span, he's got more rushing yards than anybody.
yeah.
I mean, and he, in my opinion, like he had a couple of years when he was with Philadelphia to where he rushed for like 1,800 yards, and he had a pretty good thing going when he was in Philadelphia. Buffalo, he's had serviceable seasons. So like
He's been really good in Buffalo. I mean,
I wouldn't say he hasn't been as good in Buffalo as he was in Philly, but he's definitely.
I know
he's eclipsed 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he's been hurt. I know
He's normally always hurt. I mean, he normally does miss a couple of games, but I mean, there's no denying it. And a lot of people, when I say this, he resembles Barry Sanders to me more than anybody. Just, I mean, if you watch some of the moves that he puts on and the way that he's able to cut and the way that, like, when he gets in the open field, very impressive back with catching the ball out of the backfield. He definitely, I mean, he will make you miss. I mean, he has some moves. I enjoy watching Shady McCoy run the football, but if he's guilty of this stuff,
he's done.
Yeah.
He's
football
done
is the least.
Because here's my thing. Like Ezekiel Elliott never got. He was just accused, and it was just like mischievous stuff. It wasn't even nothing, you know. And he got 6 games. See, and we're gonna tie it back to LeSean McCoy, but we didn't get a chance to talk about this.
No, but to your point, Ezekiel Elliott and LeSean McCoy, these are 2 different conversations as far as
Well,
I'm
it was
concerned.
domestic violence. So
This is a little bit beyond domestic violence.
I mean, domestic violence is domestic violence. But my thing here
this is attempted armed robbery. You can
right.
I mean, it is armed robbery. It's conspiracy because he didn't do it.
Right.
He had somebody else do it. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff. I mean, he could probably get felony charges for a lot of this stuff.
And I agree. And who just got suspended in the league?
Was Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston. All right, and we're definitely gonna talk. We're gonna talk about him.
Man.
We're gonna talk about because we hadn't got a chance to talk about it. And I'm gonna just before we'll talk about him after the break.
Okay.
But he got 3 games, and Ezekiel Elliott got 6. But we'll talk about that because that all ties in because now LeSean McCoy, let's just say nothing happens legally with this. What is he getting? He can't play opening day.
Okay, so I disagree. If he doesn't get anything legally, because you have no evidence. Okay, so if they can't charge him, you have no evidence that he did this.
Right.
So if I'm in Miami and I'm training and I'm minding my own business and I had no knowledge of this, what are you suspending me for?
And it's just a coincidence, right? But here's the thing. Ezekiel Elliott has never been convicted or charged. The charges were dropped at Ohio State. The charges were even dropped. Ezekiel Elliott got convicted of nothing. He got convicted of nothing.
Okay, so the difference between him and Ezekiel Elliott is Ezekiel Elliott was questioned last year, and it was like he admitted to some of the things that he was doing. So he didn't admit.
He didn't admit. So here's the thing.
He admitted to using drugs and.
But that was in college. When he was in college, it wasn't while he was. It was while he was at Ohio State. It wasn't while he was in the NFL. So here's my thing. Again, that's fine. He never got convicted. And they said it was the public conduct.
Exactly.
Okay. so here's my thing. He has to get 6 games because it's even if you're accused, even if you don't have to be in the NFL saying, even if you're accused, you're going to get this time. Jameis Winston only got 3 games.
Okay, so it's a difference. All right, and hear me out on this. Okay, LeSean McCoy's situation is far worse than Jameis Winston and Ezekiel Elliott. So we agree there.
Absolutely.
The difference is that Jameis Winston was in that Uber car. He was in that Uber ride. Ezekiel Elliott admitted to some other things that was
nothing that had to do with NFL.
Nothing that had to do with the NFL, but using drugs and that sort of thing. And we're not privy to all the things that were discussed in his deposition. When the NFL summons him to talk about his situation, we don't know what was exactly said in that room. But whatever was said, it was enough for the NFL to say, you know what, we're going to sit you down for 6 games. And the way that played out last year, we thought that he was going to end up beating that. I personally thought he was going to end up beating it because it kept getting prolonged for so long. Now, LeSean McCoy's situation is a little bit different because there's no physical evidence tying him in that house. Now, if the cops conduct an investigation and they figure out, like, look, we got phone records of you setting this up, we got money being exchanged, we're going to formally charge you for conspiracy, then you're right. The NFL is the least of his worries. But we've seen stranger stuff. I mean, look at what happened with Reuben Foster.
Right, and that's why I say I'm not just gonna say, oh, he's guilty, because I've seen people on social media just be like, oh, they need to throw him under the jail, they need to do this. And again, I've heard the stories of women doing this to themselves to get back at the person that they were with, knowing that they can lose a lot just by having this in the atmosphere.
You know what? Okay, so you do bring up a good point. All right, so I think they were
not saying that she did it.
No. I mean, we're examining everything. I mean, nothing is off the table. I mean, like, you're looking at a lot of women that have recanted some of their statements, and that goes both ways. We don't know if somebody got to them and said, like, look, we'll settle, we'll give you this money. If you make this go away, all of us can win in this situation. Or we don't know if they were making up the stories.
Right.
Neither here or there. With this situation, you did have her, they were supposed to go to court, I want to say, wasn't that long ago, like, might have been like Tuesday, and then they got pushed out to.
You're talking about
LeSean McCoy.
Okay.
Yeah, they were supposed to go to court about the eviction. But where his situation gets a little bit dicey and why you can't give him all the way the benefit of the doubt is, like, he's done petty stuff like move all the furniture out the house, change the alarm system, remove all the cameras.
Right.
He's just done a lot of things to where it's like, all right, dude, you were going about it the right way with trying to evict her through the court system. And if you just had to take a loss, you had to take a loss. You didn't have to go extreme like this. But to your point, you don't know if maybe she thought that she was going to lose and maybe set all this up to make him look a lot worse to where something happens. So there's a lot that we need to figure out, and we got to definitely know more facts. But
and here's my thing, and I again, I'm not condoning any of this, but you seen the way she was beaten. At that point, you might as well kill her. I mean, she looked dead.
No, the pictures were pretty gruesome.
Yeah, so at that point, That's why I don't know. I think I watched too much Law and Order SVU, man. I've seen the episode where the guy killed his whole family and shot himself to just give him a graze. Where it's just, I mean, people do. It's some crazy people out here. And again, I'm not saying that LeSean McCoy is innocent nor guilty. Again, we're just examining everything that's going on. And
when I initially saw the pictures, I was like, "Oh man, he's done." But then you start reading up and you start hearing more of the reports. You're like, well, this can go either way. Because, I mean, this past year or the past couple of years, nothing surprises me anymore.
Nothing.
And you just really have to sit back, examine all the evidence, and just wherever the case goes is where it goes. Like, I don't know how long this is going to play out. I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I don't know what Shady's going to do. It's just one of those things that we just have to sit back and wait and see. And, I mean, form our opinion from there. But if I had to form an opinion now and just based off of what I'm looking at, and I could be wrong, it looks like he had something to do with this. I don't know that for sure. That's just my opinion after looking at everything is, like, it's looking like he had something to do with it.
Yeah. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We're gonna talk more NFL madness, and it's crazy. So let's
well, I just want to add this: if he did have something to do with this, he is not a bright individual.
Exactly, because why if you did,
got to be something.
So, and this is another reason why I don't think, and I know we was about to go to break. It just can't. Why I don't think that he had something, because it's like. Ironically, they asked specifically for the items that he was asking her for. So my first thought, and this is my first thought, I was like, well, she set that up. She told somebody that, and they came. I don't know, man. That's so stupid. That is dumb.
Yeah, it's like Rodney. That's one of our producers here. He was talking. He said, "What type of burglar has a checklist?"
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
Exactly.
I mean,
something don't smell right, man. Something doesn't smell right. But we're gonna take a quick break with a burglary checklist. Oh my God, this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
This is your boy Scotty B.
Damn, it's nice.
And I don't mean just slow, I mean maybe.
I could agree.
And I don't mean just slow, I mean maybe possibly yellow bus. So, and for all our yellow bus listeners out there. Oh man, that was an old clip, man.
Welcome back.
Man. I had to be talking about Jameis Winston.
Absolutely. So, that was one of Scotty's thoughts like 3 years ago about Jameis Winston. He called him an L7. He said he was slow. He said he was yellow bus slow. Hey, Scotty was tough on Jameis Winston coming into the league, right?
I saw it, man.
And I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. But nah.
Not no more, huh?
Nah, man, no. And here's my thing. I know we're gonna get to Brandon Brown real quick, but Jameis Winston should have got 6 games because he already has a history. So he should have got 6 games, at least. Then, if I was the Bucks, I would think about trading him, if not even just cutting him.
Okay, see, I wouldn't do that.
I know you could get something for him, but I mean, sometimes somebody got to hit rock bottom before they come back.
This would be his last warning for me. I would see how this season played out.
Mm-hmm.
I think last season was supposed to be the year that he took it to the next level.
Right.
And he was hurt a lot of for a lot of last year. I think he regressed a little bit last year. So I would want to see, is he more talk than action? Because that's what I think that's the frustration that people have. Most people have with Jameis Winston is he says all the right things, but his actions don't back up what he's talking about.
Right.
So he said all the right things with saying that he's going to remove alcohol from his life and he's going to try to be a better individual. But like you said, he's on that last chance. I think people are done giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I think if his performance isn't good this year or he has one more screw up, the Bucs will release him.
And because I want to say this is what, his fourth year? Or
This is fourth year.
It's going into his fourth year. I mean, you got to show and prove now. I mean, at this point, you haven't made the playoffs. The guy that he's tied to, Marcus Mariota, just made the playoffs, even though he didn't play that well. He played good enough last year, but he made it to the postseason, and you technically have more weapons.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's why the
weapons.
bar has been a little bit higher for him is because he's got the receivers.
And you was the number one pick.
Yeah, he was the number one pick. Played with a pretty stout defense. Now, Tampa Bay is a underachieving team. I feel like they're in the wrong. Well, not really the wrong division, but their division. They have a tough division.
They definitely have a tough division. But with that being said, that ain't nobody. Hey, it is what it is. You in the pros, and the NFC is tough. He needs to get his act together. So I agree. This is your last shot. This is the last, and I would just cut him, man. If anything, any sort of screw up, mainly off the field, you got to go, man.
So let me ask you this: do you feel like Jameis Winston is a starting quarterback or he's a backup?
No, he's a starting quarterback. I do think he's definitely a starting quarterback.
Would you take him over Dak Prescott?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I mean, Dak is just a better quarterback. Dak makes less mistakes.
Then Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Dak is a better quarterback than Jameis Winston. Quarterback, yeah. I think he's more athletic. Here we go again.
Okay, no, I'm listening. I am listening.
I just think Dak makes other guys better. If I put it like this, if Dak Winston last year had Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans, even with
Dak Winston.
you got me. After all these shit, if Dak Prescott had Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson, even with Ezekiel Elliott getting suspended, the Cowboys win that extra game and go to the playoffs.
Dak Prescott had Jason Witten, Dez Bryant.
Jason Witten was on his last
Ezekiel
leg.
Elliott.
No, I'm talking about Ezekiel Elliott missed 6 games. Ezekiel Elliott don't miss those 6 games. The Cowboys are in the playoffs. They were 1 game out of the playoffs. So again, I'm just saying if he had just those 2 receivers, because now it was like you take away Dez Bryant who had a off year. Jason Witten's on his last leg. Jason Witten couldn't outrun a snail, right? And you give him Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson, the Cowboys are definitely going to win at least 10 games.
Okay. No, I mean it was.
They went 9-7.
I want to be honest. The question came to me just at the last minute. No, really. I don't know who's better. I don't know who I would rather have. Both of them, in my opinion, are unproven. They flashed that they have the potential to play in the NFL, but I don't know.
So
if they're both, they both need to take steps in the.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
You got Dak Prescott's 2 years of film. You got Jameis Winston's 3 years of film. Just from the film, who you taking? It shouldn't be that difficult.
Jameis Winston.
You're a lie. You know why?
I haven't seen.
Listen.
I'll be honest. Dak Prescott scares me.
And that's fine, and that's good.
Scares me a lot. I'm not sold on Dak Prescott.
Okay.
And
that's fine. And that's fine. But 13 wins and 9 wins is a lot better than not being over 500 for your first 3 years.
Okay, so this is what scares me about Dak, and this is unfair, but it's the way that I evaluate quarterbacks. I'm not a huge fan of the game manager, and I get it. You know, I mean, Dak Prescott, he's got like a lot of Alex Smith in him, No, I'm dead
Go
serious.
ahead. I didn't mean it because I knew that was coming.
Yeah, you had to know it was coming.
But,
So sometimes the caretaker is good for the team that you need, and Dak Prescott does fit into what the Cowboys need. Definitely a change of pace from a gunslinger. You definitely saw the improvement of the overall team when he was inserted into the lineup.
Right.
But he's got to show improve this year. And Jameis Winston, he's in the same category. I don't put him in the category of a game manager. I think he's got all the talent. It just necessarily doesn't equate to the football field. No, and what I mean by that is sometimes like guys have the talent, but it doesn't show up on Sunday like it should.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he doesn't have talent. So ultimately, we're comparing a first rounder to a third rounder. Which I mean, once you're a starting quarterback, you're a starting quarterback.
Exactly.
The rounds don't even matter. But at the end of the day, you got to differentiate between the two, and that where you got drafted plays a part.
Well, okay. So one thing I do give Dak is he leads by example, and he's not a talker; he's a doer.
And he's more of a leader than Alex Smith.
Oh,
by far.
Yeah. I mean, but Alex Smith is a good leader. You know what I mean? Sometimes, your quarterback, like sometimes they set the tone, they set the pace, and they get.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
This man Scott just gave Alex Smith a compliment, man. Continue, man. I told you it was a crazy week, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I mean, but real talk. I mean, sometimes like your game manager, like a Trent Dilfer, he was a good leader.
Yeah.
You know, maybe didn't have the talent or that Jameis Winston has. Jameis Winston, like I said, sometimes he comes off more of a preacher or more of one of those guys.
Eating W's.
Yeah, eating W's and looks like he does stuff for the camera.
Yeah.
But has the talent to where the sky's the limit. So
I agree with that. And I mean, we can talk about that all summer because I know we're going to talk about that when we do our draft show. Fantasy draft show. But okay, Brandon Browner. Before we go to the winner of the week, oh my God, he just played in the flag game on Saturday. I was watching him play in the flag the flag league on Saturday, literally Saturday, and now this.
That man. Okay, so let me get this straight. So he breaks into his ex-girlfriend's apartment, beats her up, and then tries to stuff some carpet down her throat or something like that. Did you hear?
Yeah.
Something about that? Like try to get her to choke her out with the carpet. Yo.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't even really know what to say.
He took a watch back too. It was like a $20,000 Rolex. Hey, look, man. This is just my advice to all the guys out there. Man, once you give it, it's gone.
It's a wrap.
It is.
It's a wrap.
It is gone.
And somebody told me something today, and I laughed and blew it off like it was stupid. He was like, a lot of these NFL guys aren't getting paid much, and he was like, all these things are happening at one time is all done by the NFL so they could keep the guys from getting like the NBA contracts and the MLB contracts, and all of these things is just happening because I'm telling you, when NFL stories happen, they happen at once. They all happen at once, and it's like, golly, it piles on. So that was stupid. I don't even know why he even say he's one of those conspiracy theorist type guys and whatever. But I mean, his career is pretty much over already. But you're gonna end your life too, because ultimately that's what you're doing. Like, you get 3 counts of attempted murder, kidnapping. The list goes on. I can't even remember everything that's on that.
Whose situation is worse?
Between
him
Brandon Browner. Absolutely, because this is attempted murder. I mean, LeSean McCoy is not in police. Well, is Brandon Browner out right now?
Yeah, nah, he's out.
Okay.
I want to say the Seahawks cut him in 2016.
It was before that, unless he came back. So yeah,
he went to the Patriots, and then he went to the Saints, and then
was he with the Dolphins too? I can't remember.
If he was, it
But he won
wasn't
he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots.
Yeah, with
So-
the Patriots and the Seahawks. So he does have 2
Yeah.
Super Bowl rings.
So, all right. Well, he didn't. I don't. He wasn't. He was hurt with the Seahawks.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with the winner. This is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be a good one because now we about to.
It's gonna spark a little bit. Of
Yeah, it's gonna
conversation.
spark some convo. But this is off the record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
You're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
Welcome back. All right, so my winner of the week this week is Cardinals executive Michael Bidwell. And the reason why he's my winner of the week this week is he came out with a statement about he thinks that players should restrict their opinions to outside of game day, and they shouldn't say it on game day. What was troubling about this is Mr. Bidwell, he's got a Supreme Court nominee friend, childhood friend, and he's wrote some letters to some senators in support of him. And he's been an advocate of keeping politics away from football, but it's a contradiction because obviously he's not keeping politics away from football. So he's my winner because he contradicts himself, and I don't think it's fair to tell somebody that, okay, well, you should stick to playing football when clearly you have your own political agendas and opinions, and how are you going to criticize the football players for taking social stances on political issues, but then in a sense you're advocating for your friend to be a Supreme Court justice?
Oh, son of a bitch!
What is your thoughts? Am I the only person that kind of saw like the just contradiction in that?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. If he would have did it on his own personal page, I wouldn't have cared. I don't think anybody would care. The fact that he actually did it on the Cardinals website and the Cardinals page,
Yeah.
that's what makes it an issue. And now if I'm one of the players, I'm like, dude, you just told us to keep our thoughts to ourselves, and you post this on the team page that we play for, and someone could take it as we support that,
Right.
and that's not the case.
Well, I mean, I guess the bigger deal here, and I get him, I want to defend a little bit of him, is it could be viewed as you're a Trump supporter, which could be an unpopular view with a lot of the players, which, I mean, it's a free country. Like, you can support the president, you cannot support the president, but we're asked to keep our political views to ourselves. So anybody that has any sort of job, the number one rule of the workplace is you don't discuss politics.
Absolutely.
You keep your
Yep.
opinions to yourself. Now, the other side of it is a childhood friend. They were high school teammates. They had a petition from his high school, but to your point, like, that should be separate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, that's something that your NFL affiliation has nothing to do with your support of your childhood friend.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. That's I would be pissed. And if I was one of the leaders, if I was Patrick Peterson or any of those leaders that's in that locker room and had an issue with it, I would bring it to him.
It's hypocritical.
Yes,
that-
to the highest level of hypocrisy.
So it breaks it down to where it's like, okay, it's okay for me to do this, but it's not okay for you to do this because you ultimately work for me, boy.
See, you had
So
to
I
add,
had to throw that in there.
You had to throw the boy in there.
But that's what it comes off.
Yeah,
of.
do as I say, not as I do.
Right, exactly.
And all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire, because I mean, I feel like this guy, he has to take that down. If it hasn't been taken down already,
I think it has been taken down.
it has to be taken
He
down.
just put out a lot of defenses on it. I just reason why he was the winner of the week is I just wanted to bring attention to the hypocrisy that goes on in the NFL, and it's a bigger issue that they're going to have to address moving forward, especially as the anthem protests, how we see that play out this year. And to your point, like the collective bargaining agreement with the guaranteed money and how some of that stuff starts to play out too.
Which ain't gonna happen.
No,
That's not gonna happen. Yeah. So here's the thing. There's nothing in the CBA saying that you can't negotiate it. You can negotiate a guaranteed contract, but I can tell you now, the only people that's gonna get like a guaranteed contract are gonna be quarterbacks. And maybe the elite running backs like Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, or someone someone that the organization trusts that's gonna keep their nose clean. If you have any inkling of some sort of issues, they're not gonna.
I want to tell you, the NFL has a lot of challenges in front of them, and what we're looking at somewhat of the start of a demise of the most popular game in America right now. And some of these issues, they can be addressed. There's solutions for them, but if they're not the right solutions and we don't come up with the right just plans of actions, we can see the NFL just slowly deteriorate.
Yeah, and you're gonna see with that baseball come back to prominence. If you have the stars, you're gonna see basketball completely take over. Because as good as basketball is doing, and even they're making themselves relevant during their off season, they still can't touch football in America right now. Nothing can touch football right now. But if you keep on having these sorts of issues with the politics, and let's just say Trump gets reelected, right? That's another 4 years that you got to deal with this, and ultimately you can kind of put some of that on Trump, because ever since he came in and butted in, it's been sinking, and so now you adding the domestic violence, you're adding the CTE, you're adding the concussions, you're adding all these things that you're gonna start seeing even bigger decline in the actual sport.
Well, you look at some of the athletes in the NFL, and you just think and always this one just sticks out in my head. Could you imagine Russell Westbrook? I know he plays in the NBA.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he played baseball?
Yeah, he'd be a star.
He'd be a superstar, and it's a lot of NFL players to where the baseball is tough, but if you start getting some of the athletes that are in the NFL playing in Major League Baseball,
yep.
I mean, look out.
Because a lot of them have been drafted. A lot of them have been drafted to, and we could probably post a list of the guys that's been drafted out of high school or college to play Major League Baseball in the NFL, and you have a good number of guys.
Oh yeah, you definitely will have a good number.
Almost
of guys.
every quarterback in the NFL could play in the majors.
Absolutely, and I think what a lot of it is guys not wanting to wait the process out in baseball. So in baseball, like you end up in single A, you end up in double A, you end up in triple A, and you won't see the initial money from the get-go. So a lot of guys are shy from that just because of their situations, their economic situations, to where it's like, okay, well, I need to get this payday because I need to change just the income and the financial situation of my family. So they do shy away from it. But if football just continues to have these issues, you will see a lot more players just going toward baseball.
Mm-hmm. So all right, so we're gonna
shift gears, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go to the old school joint of the day real quick.
Okay.
And then let's just go to old school joint of the day.
All right. Now we come back and discuss a couple things.
All right.
Yeah, man, that's Live 2000, man. What y'all know about that Live 2000, man? Nah, I mean, definitely came out well before that, but Live 2000, that was like the little intro, man. That was Williams Hall, man.
Dang.
Williams Hall Live 2000, man. Got to shout out BSU.
Yeah, shout out to Virginia State. Dang, Williams Hall.
Williams Hall, buddy.
We ain't had no AC.
It's a lot of things that we ain't have in our Williams Hall.
If you wanted to watch, and Monday Night Raw was big back then. If you wanted to watch wrestling, you had to go in the basement, and everybody was packed up in the basement watching on one TV. And at that time, I think it was like a 37-inch.
Yo, the shout out to everybody that went to Virginia State, that stayed in Williams Hall. You may not have grew up in the hood, but after Williams Hall, you was in the hood. So
You was definitely in the hood.
Shout out to everybody in the ramen noodles in Williams Hall.
Yep,
Boy.
man. So all right, so man, when I told you that when NFL things happen, they all happen at one time.
Right.
As soon as we went to the old school joint of the day, we got a notification. What's his name? Marcel Darius of the Jacksonville Jaguars, defensive tackle. He's getting sued for sexual assault and exposing his accuser to an STD.
Wow.
Which more than likely it was herpes. So, which I mean, yeah, I mean, I
It is what it is.
yeah, maybe it is the NFL setting all this. I don't know.
Setting all this up, but man, what you got on the Major League Baseball, man? All-Star game
All-Star
gonna be
game's
in
coming
DC.
All-Star game is in DC. So the home run derby. I think one of these Cubs are gonna win it. I think
Okay.
Baez. I don't know all the people. I think he's gonna win it. That's my early prediction for that.
Well, I look forward to watching Major League Baseball, the All-Star festivities, because they really made an assertive effort to try and change it to make it more exciting.
Right.
So I just interested to see what changes they got this year. Basketball, man. What about these Houston Rockets and Carmelo Anthony?
So yeah, so Carmelo talked to the Rockets in the Heat, and the Rockets are also trying to get Nick Young. So I think you get listen, hey, he's a world champion, man. But I think if
he's a world champion bench warmer.
Yeah, that's because he couldn't shoot in the finals, but he did provide a bit of a spark off the bench, and during the season, during
the season. I was about to say not during the playoffs.
Yeah, not during
he was some trash. Against that Houston series.
Yeah, but honestly, a lot of them was trash. Other than
they were dependent on Nick Young to come in and give them
a spark.
Yeah, a spark because Andre Iguodala was out. So
yeah, he played like poop.
So
I mean, it's still gonna be tough to beat Golden State. I think there was a lot of overreaction with Boogie Cousins. Here's my thing. They got Boogie Cousins, and it changed nothing on the betting. On the bets, it's not like it made them now. They were already the favorites.
So if the Rockets get Carmelo Anthony, does that give them a legitimate shot to contend with the Warriors?
They already know they can contend with the Warriors. I think losing. Yeah,
they lost some pieces.
They lost Trevor Ariza. They're gonna sign Capella. I'm not worried one bit of them signing Capella. If they add Nick Young and they add Carmelo Anthony, you're not going to go 0 for 27. You're not going to miss 27 straight three-pointers.
Okay, so Clint Capella, I get that. Not a big market for him.
There is a big market for him, though.
Well, they ain't got the money for him.
That's
turned down $85 million. They'll end up getting that done.
Yeah, he's gonna get his money.
If I was Carmelo Anthony, I think he's a better fit in LA.
Okay, explain.
I just think it'll be an opportunity for him and LeBron to team up, and that'll give them a little bit more outside shooting. He'll be able to play the 3 there and possibly move Brandon Ingram to the 2, and then you got Lonzo Ball, and then you have JaVale McGee as your athletic big, and then that'll still give you the room to sign a Kawhi Leonard and figure out how you want to make that work. I think with the Rockets, it just made the way that Carmelo plays, and I think you kind of saw it with the Thunder this year, is he's a player that needs the ball in his hands. The way that they used him, which was the way that they were supposed to use him as a stretch 4, I'm not sure if that's his strong suit. And getting limited touches, that whole situation just didn't work. So
here's the thing. You told me something earlier when we was talking. You said that you think people wrote Carmelo off too soon.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that. But here's my thing. I think that if he goes to Houston, because, look, we already know Carmelo, CP3, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James they're like the 4 horsemen or whatever, right? But Dwayne Wade and LeBron already won their rings. Chris Paul and Carmelo haven't won. So if they can win together, I think if they're on the same team, that gives them added motivation, which you don't have to give Chris Paul added motivation. But I think with Carmelo on the team, that's giving them added motivation to go out there and do whatever it is that they need to do to beat the Warriors and get to because if they win the final, if they win the Western Conference Finals, they're gonna win the finals.
I have concerns about the defense. If you put him on that Rockets team, I think scoring the ball, they'll be able to put up all the points that they need to put up. But can Carmelo buy in enough to play defense on that team? I think that either way, it makes for good basketball. It makes another good storyline. I think he'll fit better with the Rockets than he did the Thunder. I don't know. It's just it's interesting.
All right, we got 10 seconds, right?
World Cup.
We got World Cup. Who you got?
France.
I got France. All right, before we come back next week, will Carmelo be signed, yes or no?
Absolutely.
With what team?
He'll go to the Rockets.
All right. Damn it, man. I thought you was going to say L.A., man.
Nah, he'll go to the Rockets. I think he should go to L.A., but he'll go to the Rockets.
All right, well, we got to get up out of here. Divergent Thought is up next. Thanks for tuning in. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy, Scotty B.
We are out of here.
Peace.